Let's be honest, there's a quiet test happening every time you talk to her. You might not even notice it, but she's watching, analyzing, and decoding every word, every gesture, every pause. And she's not doing this randomly. She's searching for a signal that tells her whether you're truly worthy of her trust, her heart, and her love. Most men never see it. They think they're connecting. But in reality, she's already measuring your value against a set of invisible rules written by evolution, experience, and intuition. The first trick she uses is subtle, almost invisible. It's called the reaction test. She'll say something unexpected, a small contradiction, or even something slightly controversial. Maybe she jokes about a moral line or mentions an opinion you didn't anticipate. What she's really looking for isn't your answer, it's your emotional response. Do you lose control? Do you get defensive? Or do you show calm confidence? Her mind is scanning for stability. She wants to know if you can handle her complexity, her mood swings, her life without crumbling under pressure. Most men fail this test before they even realize it exists. Then there's the attention calibration. Have you noticed how she asks questions but doesn't always need an answer? She's testing whether you're truly present. Are you listening to her words or are you waiting for your turn to speak? She notices the tiny details, how your eyes shift, whether your focus drifts, even the micro expressions that reveal your subconscious feelings. Women are experts at reading these signals because they've been trained by life, by social dynamics, and by the subtle language of human interaction. If you ignore the cues, she's mentally scoring you low, not because you're a bad person, but because you failed to meet her baseline for attention and care. Then comes the social proof scan. This isn't about popularity in a superficial way. It's about how other people treat you. She observes how you interact with strangers, with your friends, with service staff. Do you show respect and integrity when there's no reward, or do you change depending on who's watching? Women instinctively measure your value through the lens of how others perceive and respond to you because it gives her a clue about your character without her having to test it directly. Finally, she tests your emotional depth through controlled vulnerability. She may share something personal, not the deepest secret, but just enough to gauge your reaction. Will you respond with empathy, judgment, or indifference? This moment is crucial. It's like a quiet scale in her mind, weighing whether your emotional intelligence matches her needs. And here's the harsh truth. If you underestimate these tests, if you see them as games or manipulation, you'll fail without even knowing why. These subtle, invisible checks aren't tricks to punish you. They are her way of protecting her heart, making sure that anyone she allows in is truly capable of love. The men who pass, they don't just answer the questions, they embody the qualities she's seeking: stability, attention, empathy, integrity, and the scary part, most men never even realize they're being measured until it's too late. Women aren't just looking for someone to share their time with, they're searching for someone who proves moment by moment that he's capable of sustaining her trust and admiration. And one of the most powerful psychological tricks she uses is what I call the consistency test. It's quiet, almost invisible, but it's always there. She's watching how you behave across different situations with different people in different moods. Are you the same man when she's laughing versus when she's upset? When things go wrong, do you crumble or do you rise? Her subconscious mind records these patterns like a ledger. One slip, one inconsistency can lower your value in her eyes, even if you're perfect in every other way. Then there's the reaction to absence. This is brutal in its subtlety. She'll pull back. Maybe she won't reply instantly. Maybe she'll be a little distant. What she's doing isn't punishing you. She's testing your emotional independence, your ability to maintain your composure without her constant attention. Men who panic, overext, or beg for reassurance fail this test instantly. The ones who pass, they remain calm, confident, and grounded, showing her that their world doesn't revolve around her approval, but that they still care in a meaningful, controlled way. Next comes the emotional layering. She'll observe how you respond to her moods, her stories, her silences. Women are masters at projecting microsignals, tiny cues that reveal your deeper instincts. Do you match her energy, escalate it, or ignore it? She's not seeking flattery. She's searching for attunement, the rare ability to read her without needing her to spell it out. A man who notices, who adjusts naturally without losing himself, immediately rises in her mental hierarchy. One who misreads or overreacts collapses. This is psychological warfare disguised as everyday interaction, and most men never even recognize it. And then comes the value mirroring. She subtly gauges what you value by how you speak, what you prioritize, and even what you ignore. It's not about agreement, it's about resonance. She's asking, do you reflect strength, focus, and integrity? Do your actions match your words? Every word, every gesture is a data point, every action a clue. If she senses shallow motives, inconsistency, or insecurity, it's a red flag. But if she senses conviction, reliability, and depth, she starts to imagine a future with you quietly, internally, before a single word of love is exchanged. Finally, she tests your ability to handle the unspoken truth. There will be moments when she doesn't say what she's thinking, when she hides her feelings, when she expects you to read between the lines. Your reaction here is critical. Do you push, demand, or panic? Or do you observe, understand, and respond with intelligence and respect? These moments reveal whether you are capable of being more than just a temporary partner. They reveal whether you are a man who can stand steady in her world, even when the currents of emotion shift unpredictably. And here's the real truth most men miss. She doesn't want perfection. She wants presence. She wants intelligence. She wants emotional stability. Every subtle test, every psychological trick is a filter to separate men who can truly love and support her from those who can't. Understanding this is the first step toward passing her invisible tests. One of the most dangerous mistakes a man can make is thinking that love is purely about words. Women don't fall for words. They fall for evidence, subtle proof that you're capable of something more than surface-level charm. And one of the most powerful tools she wields is what I call the boundary test. She'll push gently or sometimes aggressively to see how you react when her limits are approached. Maybe she flirts in a way that's ambiguous, or maybe she challenges you on something you hold sacred. This is not manipulation. It's her way of reading whether you can protect her, yourself, and your principles without aggression or weakness. Most men fail this test by either overreacting or giving in. The men who pass, they respond with calm strength, showing her that they can respect limits while maintaining dominance over their own emotions. Then there's the attention scarcity experiment. She will deliberately withdraw, not out of spite, but to see if you can maintain value in her absence. How do you act when she's not immediately available? Do you chase, panic, or bend? Or do you maintain your world, your focus, your presence? Women instinctively measure a man's ability to be independent while still showing consistent, controlled affection. This is one of the most overlooked yet critical markers of long-term compatibility. If you fail this, you signal neediness. If you pass, you signal reliability and power. Next comes the emotional ripple test. She will watch how your emotions extend beyond the immediate moment. How do you react to her moods, to her stories, to moments of tension? Do you stabilize or destabilize? Women are tuned to notice even micro changes in energy and your ability to create calm in chaos, or at least not escalate. It is a test of your psychological strength. Your emotional rhythm tells her more than words ever could. And then there's the value triangulation. She will subtly introduce scenarios where she observes how you handle indirect comparison or even mild jealousy, not to provoke you, but to see whether your self-worth is anchored or fragile. She wants to see if you can maintain integrity when faced with subtle social pressure. This test separates men who are secure from those who are easily shaken. Finally, she tests long-term vision alignment. This isn't about talking marriage or kids on the first date. It's about observing whether your values, priorities, and ambitions naturally align with hers. Without force, how you react to discussions of future goals, lifestyle choices, or even small moral dilemmas tells her if you're capable of being a consistent partner over years, not just a momentary thrill. Here's the truth most men miss. Passing these tests doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness, self-control, and emotional intelligence. Women are wired to scan for these subtle cues because evolution favors men who can maintain stability, protection, and emotional depth. Every subtle test, every minor observation is her way of silently filtering out men who can't meet these unconscious requirements. If you fail even one of these, she will subtly withdraw, sometimes without ever explaining why. But if you pass, she begins to let down walls you didn't even know existed, slowly opening her mind and heart to a man who demonstrates worth without saying it aloud. The most dangerous tests a woman gives are the ones you never even notice. These are subtle, almost invisible, but they leave a mark on your psyche. One of the most potent is what I call the mirror challenge. She will reflect back your behavior, your energy, your emotions, sometimes in ways that feel confusing or exaggerated. If you are patient and self-aware, you recognize the reflection and adjust thoughtfully. If you react impulsively, defensively, or with frustration, she has already marked you as unworthy. This is not a trick. It's a window into how you truly operate under pressure. Your ability to see yourself in her reflection shows maturity, emotional intelligence, and resilience, all things she unconsciously craves. Then there's the loyalty probe. She'll speak about experiences, men, or situations from her past, not to relive them, but to observe how you respond. Do you judge? Do you compete? Do you shrink in insecurity? Or do you listen, absorb, and respond with calm understanding? Every word you utter is recorded in her mind, every tone of voice analyzed. Women are wired to detect whether a man can honor her history while remaining secure in his own value. Fail this test and you trigger doubt. Pass it and you demonstrate a rare combination of strength and emotional maturity. Next is the reaction to ambiguity. Life with a woman isn't always clear-cut. She will deliberately create small moments of uncertainty. Maybe a vague plan, a mysterious comment, or a subtle change in tone. This is not cruelty. It's her way of seeing how you handle uncertainty, how adaptable you are, and how confident you remain when the outcome is unknown. Men who panic, overthink, or push for control fail instantly. Men who observe, calculate, and act with composed strategy pass, signaling that they can handle the unpredictable nature of life and of love. Then comes the social intelligence filter. She's not only evaluating you in isolation, she's watching how you navigate social dynamics. How do you treat the barista, your friends, your colleagues, the way you handle social pressure, the grace you show under stress, the empathy you demonstrate? It all adds up in her mind. Women use this to gauge character faster than any words or promises could convey. Finally, she executes what I call the emotional endurance test. She will layer moods, test boundaries, and observe reactions over time. This isn't a game of manipulation, it's survival instinct. She needs to know if you are someone who can withstand the ups and downs of real emotional life. Can you stay grounded in the face of tension? Can you respond without fear or frustration? Can you offer stability while still being genuinely present? Here's the blunt truth. Most men never even see these tests coming. They think attraction is about charm, humor, or appearance. In reality, attraction is about proving, without words, that you can navigate her world, her mind, and her emotions without breaking, without losing yourself. Women are quietly, tirelessly scanning for this. And when a man passes, he doesn't just capture her interest. He earns her trust, respect, and the possibility of something deeper, something lasting. Women are constantly testing, not because they want to manipulate, but because their hearts are too valuable to risk on uncertainty. One of the most profound tests is the emotional resonance challenge. She will share feelings, fears, or subtle frustrations, not for attention, but to see if you actually understand her, feel her, and respond with depth. Your ability to mirror her emotions, to connect without judgment, is what tells her whether you're capable of true intimacy. Most men fail this by reacting with logic, defensiveness, or distraction. The men who pass, they don't just listen. They absorb, reflect, and show her she is fully seen. That is rare. That is magnetic. Then there's the authenticity trap. She observes whether your words match your actions, whether your promises carry weight. A woman's subconscious radar picks up even tiny inconsistencies. If you say one thing and do another, it creates a quiet alarm in her mind. It's not that she's cynical, it's survival instinct. She's scanning for reliability, integrity, and alignment. Men who are transparent, consistent, and honest, even in small, seemingly insignificant moments, score far higher in her mental ledger. Next is the challenge of calm under pressure. Life isn't always smooth, and neither is love. She will deliberately or inadvertently create tension through miscommunication, disagreements, or even emotional highs and lows to observe your reaction. Do you remain anchored or do you lose control? Can you hold your ground without dominating or withdrawing? Women instinctively measure a man's emotional stability in these moments because stability is the foundation of security, and security is the silent language of lasting love. Then comes the value synchronization test. She'll observe your priorities, your choices, and how you navigate your world. Does your lifestyle, your ambition, your focus align with hers? This isn't about identical interests, it's about resonance. Women are drawn to men whose lives reflect competence, purpose, and integrity because these qualities signal that he is capable of building a secure, fulfilling life with her. Fail this test, and she quietly detaches. Pass. And she begins imagining a shared life without even realizing. She's doing it! Finally, there's the trust filtration. She will test how you handle vulnerability, secrets, or even minor confessions. Can you be discreet, compassionate, and unwavering in your response? Can you honor her confidence without judgment or exploitation? This is perhaps the most subtle and most decisive measure of worth. Men who fail this reveal fragility, immaturity, or selfishness. Men who pass demonstrate a rare blend of strength, empathy, and moral clarity that makes them indispensable in her eyes. Here's the truth most men never fully grasp. Women aren't testing you to play games. They are scanning for patterns of reliability, empathy, stability, and alignment. Signals that indicate you are capable of lasting love. Every subtle cue, every unspoken observation is their invisible radar, quietly determining if you are the type of man who deserves her heart. And when a man passes, she doesn't just give affection. She invests trust, admiration, and the deep, unshakable connection that most men spend their lives chasing but rarely find. By the time she's testing all these layers, attention, consistency, emotional resonance, boundaries, she's already building a quiet mental ledger of your worth. And the final most telling measure isn't something you can fake or force. I call it the lifetime alignment test. She watches how you navigate her world, your own world, and the world you would potentially share. It's not about charm, money, or even intelligence. It's about whether your energy, your priorities, your emotional rhythm, and your moral compass naturally align with hers over time. This is the ultimate filter, the one that separates fleeting attraction from lasting connection. One of the most subtle yet decisive tricks she uses is what I call the stress mirror. She doesn't always create drama, but she observes how you react when life isn't perfect. Maybe plans fall through, maybe someone is rude, maybe you face a small failure. Your reaction here is worth more than 100 words of reassurance. Can you remain grounded, composed, empathetic? Can you recover gracefully? Women are wired to notice these moments because life itself is unpredictable, and she's scanning to see if you can navigate unpredictability without losing your center or hers. Next is the long view empathy test. She will sometimes reveal something from her past or hint at an insecurity, not to trap you, but to see if you can hold her emotional complexity without judgment. Men who respond with impatience, defensiveness, or self-centered advice fail instantly. Men who respond with patience, understanding, and quiet support pass. And these are the men she imagines building a life with in her mind even before she admits it to herself. Then comes the integration filter. This is where she evaluates how you interact with her life, her friends, and her environment. Can you integrate naturally without forcing your identity? Can you elevate her world while staying authentic to yours? Women are drawn to men who enhance life subtly, who add value without creating chaos, and who understand that intimacy is a two-way street, not a conquest. Most men never even notice this invisible balancing act. They stumble, disrupt, or dominate. Those who master it rise in her estimation effortlessly. Finally, the ultimate truth. She is observing whether you are worthy of her love in a way that no words can capture. She's measuring stability, empathy, authenticity, resilience, and vision simultaneously. Each test you've passed or failed has been quietly recorded in her mind. And at the end, when she decides that a man is worth her heart, it's not about luck. It's about whether he has proven silently, consistently, and without pretense that he can honor her himself and the life they could share together. So, here's what I want you to do. Think about your own actions, your own responses, your own emotional presence. On a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you think you pass these invisible tests? Drop your answer in the comments below. Like this video if you learned something that could change the way you approach love. Subscribe for more insights and share this with a friend who needs to hear these truths.